People, you might have forgotten about the war in Jacksonville, but Jacksonville has not forgot about the war. There's a major update in one of the cases relating to the entire deadly, ongoing, never-ending beef between Young and Ace and Foolio, rest in peace. So everybody's familiar with this war, right? If you're familiar with this channel, you will know the backstory. You will know the sad and sordid history of all of this stuff, okay? So it's been a couple of years now, okay? It's been a couple of years since I made the video, the deadly war in Jacksonville, Jacksonville's deadly gang war. And this was a very, very crazy situation, all right? This is a video that I covered a couple of years ago now. I think it was 2021, come to think of it. But it's been a lot of time, and we're only about 4,500 views off of 10 million views, which is crazy. So go and check that out if you want to recap this whole situation that went down. But in the about, well, I guess 4 years now since this has been going on, there's been a whole lot of updates. We obviously saw the very unfortunate passing of Foolio, you know, somebody that was very involved in this war, but also something that we've seen that's extremely interesting that I'm going to get into is one of the most infamous shooters from Jacksonville, allegedly, the Young and Ace's shooter, Ksoo, all right? This guy, alleged Jacksonville demon, he's finally having his trial for the murder of a 16-year-old called Bibby. Now, if you know that song, that classic song, Who I Smoke, you'll know that first name that those guys say they're smoking on, Bibby. This was a real person. I think the whole situation about that Who I Smoke song and why it was so viral was that when people kind of woke up to the fact and they kind of realized, hang on a minute, this is a real person that these guys are talking about. All of these names that you've heard in this song, from Bibby to Tiki to Lil Nine, these were all real people that lost their lives in the Jacksonville gang war. And the authorities and the police in Jacksonville did not forget about that. And finally, years later, we're actually seeing Queso going to court, finally having his day in court over the alleged murder of Bibby. Now, if you know the story, we're going to do a quick recap. But look, Queso was a prolific self-snitcher, right? I'll put it that way. Queso basically did a lot of things to make himself look very bad in this situation. So I think before we get to the current day update, let's just do a quick recap on the actual murder of Bibby, who this person was, what their relevance was in the Jacksonville streets. And then what I'm going to do is just break down the incident, break down how Queso was on the run, how his father ended up being a big part of the case, and now his father's taken the stand against his own son. It's an absolutely crazy situation. We've got a whole bunch of updates for you guys that have come from the Reddit, that have come from the news, courtroom reporting, videos of inside the courtroom. And I tell you what a lot of people are saying about this situation is that the streets are finished, okay? Being a gangster, being a gang member in the streets is over with, okay? That's not going to get you anywhere, and you're going to see some of the insane new technology that's actually being used in an effort to secure a conviction against Queso for the murder of Bibby. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's have a quick recap, and you'll see what your boy had to say about this 4 years ago.
Bibby.
Gunfire erupts inside a Northwest Side apartment complex. It leaves this 16-year-old dead. Neighbors say that the shooting sounded like a war zone. Sky 4 captured the large crime scene outside the Hilltop Village apartment complex off 45th Street just before 3 this afternoon.
Family members have identified.
Now, this Hilltop Village apartment complex, all right? This is an infamous hood. You know, I believe this is where kind of Foolio hails from. He's got a really close connection to this apartment complex, and Bibby himself ended up losing his life right there. So this really was a hot spot for the war in Jacksonville, for the gang war that was going on. And, you know, unfortunately, just being around this area, being around Foolio, a 16-year-old Bibby just, you know, ended up becoming really, you know, a much wanted trophy for his enemies. When Young and Ace's friends got killed, they were really looking for anybody that they could take out to get their revenge. And it's a really unfortunate situation.
The 16-year-old boy who was shot and killed inside the parking lot of Hilltop apartment complex as Andrian Gaynor Jr.
Yes, several hours ago, there was a large group of people that gathered here at this memorial site to pay respects to the young man who lost his life here. Eyewitnesses are telling us now that Gaynor was being chased to this exact spot where he lost his life.
On February 25th, 2019, 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor Jr., aka Bibby, was shot dead in a brazen attack carried out with automatic weapons at the Hilltop Village apartments in Jacksonville. This hit was allegedly carried out by Ksoo, and today he is still being held on charges of murder for this case. However, just like we said earlier that Barner wasn't charged for quite some time, Ksoo would remain free for over 2 years after the murder of Bibby. And I'll be honest, Ksoo pretty much spent that entire 2 years on a self-snitching world tour. In fact, the eventual indictment against Ksoo for Bibby's murder included references to social media posts Ksoo had made where he appeared to mock Bibby's death and take responsibility for it.
The report also says Robinson, quote, posted several photographs and videos bragging about the murder. It took 2 years before police issued this arrest warrant for Robinson.
A few days after the killing, Bibby's mother marched, vowing to get justice for her son.
This evening, loved ones gathered to remember a local 16-year-old. He was shot and killed in the parking lot of a Northwest Jacksonville apartment complex.
For the first time tonight, we're hearing from Adrian Gaynor's family, who's seeking justice for his death.
We pray for the mother, oh God, Miss Elizabeth, oh Father Lord. God,
as friends and relatives gathered under this gazebo to remember 16-year-old Adrian Gaynor, his mom and his grandmother begged for the violence on Jacksonville streets to stop.
Y'all get together and y'all pray. And put it down. Please put it down.
Gaynor's mother says she will not rest until the shooters are captured.
I'm gonna rock this city until they get justice for my baby. Until everybody involved are arrested, I am gonna shake Duval County.
A while after this, Ksoo ended up responding on social media, dissing Bibby and mocking his mum for calling for a march over his death.
That cremated that. Poor ass dead nigga. And they got his mom walk around, march, march, march. We're gonna get him, march.
Queso also made numerous disrespectful posts about Bibby, including making like funny little animations that I would say are kind of early flashes of the kind of crazy disrespect that we would see later on in this beef when Who I Smoke dropped.
In the air with Bibby, I'm flying with Bibby, Bibby, I'm flying.
But Queso wasn't the...
I gotta say, yeah, this case, we've seen a lot of people snitch on themselves before, but I would say this is really one of the most brazen. I feel like what Queso was doing in the aftermath of Bibby's murder was just absolutely insane. I really feel like this was one of the situations where I'd never seen somebody be so brazen about it. I mean, you know, making fun of the mother for marching and wanting justice for her son, I think it's not only very heartless, but let's keep it real, it's very stupid. You know, even if you had nothing to do with the situation, going around talking like that's going to make people think you had something to do with it. And if you did have something to do with it, that's really not the sort of attention that you should be bringing to yourself. And I feel like this is such a good example of like laugh now, cry later. Because now Bibby's up in the courtroom fighting for justice. Well, fighting for his freedom. I don't know about fighting other people fighting for justice. But it's really a bad look. And a lot of these things are being brought up in the trial. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But some of the most crazy, outrageous self-snitching that we're ever going to see occurred in this case. And now when a lawyer's saying it, you know, it's all fun and games on Instagram when you're you know, puffing up your chest and you're dissing your ops. But it's a different story when a lawyer and a prosecutor are in the courtroom reading out those tweets, reading out those Instagram posts, reading out those song lyrics. It's not a good look. And he just continues to tie himself up and hang himself with his own words, unfortunately.
The only one talking about the death of Bibby. In fact, the entire ATK side were taking disrespect to brave new levels. Whopper with the Chopper even went as far as to post a photograph of Bibby's dead body to his Instagram story along with the caption, "Spit on Diss." A picture which is obviously too shocking to show you on YouTube. And I'm not actually sure if Ksoo posted this picture himself. I mean, hell, he might have even taken it. But it just goes to show you how far these guys will go. Now, Foolio was particularly close to Bibby. A year after Bibby's murder, he dropped the heartfelt tribute song Bibby Story, trying to give a more positive reflection on his fallen brother. The music video had tons of throwback footage of Bibby in it, but on the song, Foolio also reveals some dark details about his relationship with Bibby, saying at one point that Bibby had caught a body by the time he was 16, which is the age that he was killed, going on to suggest that Foolio was aware that the murder that Bibby had committed at this young age had been playing on his mind before he was killed. Foolio went on to say, "You was killing shit for me, that's why I want to kill myself," and going on to later rap, "You know I'm killing about your name because you killed for me. He say he smoking Bibby, now he resting in peace."
Now, I think these are important details to focus on because Look, I'm not one of these people that's gonna talk about a case where somebody lost their life and you know, act like they were a saint, all right? Act like they didn't maybe partake in the gang war, or maybe put themselves in a situation where they could have been in danger. But I think when we're dealing with a 16-year-old who, even Foolio himself, all right, you know, rest in peace, Foolio, he's not with us anymore. But really, that song Bibby story, I'll just keep it all the way 1,000 with you guys, all right? He's describing grooming a young man into the gang, all right? He's describing getting around a 16-year-old, you know, in the earliest, most formative years and getting him to kill for him. I mean, that's what Foolio is saying on the song, right? He's saying, you were killing for me, he caught bodies for me. I'm killing about your name because you killed for me. Now, I don't know exactly who it was that Bibby was alleged to have murdered. That wasn't something I managed to kind of work out this stage in the story, this stage in the timeline. But I think it's just important to remember, look, I've got the utmost sympathy for everybody. I feel like on the one hand, you could say, well, Bibby was allegedly a killer. You know, maybe that was karma coming back around for him. But on the other hand, you know, it's an older gang member. It's an older, arguably famous gang member grooming you into the streets, grooming you to kill people. And even Foolio, right? Even Foolio had a conscience. He felt like, you know, he basically felt like he wanted to end his situation because this young man was killing for him. And you know, he feels responsible for his death. And I think it is very sad, you know, it's a never ending cycle. And even Ksoo, you know, he'd lost friends, he'd lost family members to this situation. And, you know, hurt people. And, you know, he was obviously so hurt by the situation, losing his friends, you know, possibly losing his friends to Bibby. He could have potentially lost one of his close friends to Bibby himself. So again, I even have a degree of sympathy for Queso. I believe he lost a brother right in front of him, you know, lost other people to the streets. And, you know, he wanted to get out there and dish out pain, the same pain that he had felt. And it really just drives home what a never-ending cycle this is. But at the end of the day, in the eyes of the law, if you're a killer, you're a killer. And justice is going to come knocking eventually.
From these lyrics, we can kind of see that Foolio blames himself for Bibby's killing, with it sounding like Bibby was specifically targeted due to his association with Foolio. Now, the song Bibby Story ended up doing numbers for Foolio, but that didn't stop Ksoo taking to social media, singing along to the song to make fun of Bibby and Foolio.
Why you had to leave? Why you ain't stay with me? With me? Why you had to leave? Bibby! He was 16 with a body on his belt. Got his ass body, those 16-year-old. Oh, my God.
Going on from this, we of course know that Bibby's name would end up being the first and most famous name that was disrespected in that song, Who I Smoke. Thing is, Foolio wasn't lying when he said that there were people ready to kill over Bibby's name. Because only a few weeks after the Bibby hit, another attempt is made on Young and Ace's life, once again with deadly consequences.
So this goes to show you, right? I'm not going to get into all of these aspects. If you want to go and check this video out yourselves, you can. But, you know, a massive retaliation came soon after, right? Laugh now, cry later. They're all laughing, making fun of Bibby. And then before you know it, you know, we end up seeing some of Young and Ace's close friends losing their life to this situation. So very, very sad. And then so basically what ended up happening is there was a retaliation, all right? There was another person that was killed. Bibby was killed. And then, you know, there was a retaliation. And then what ends up happening, and this is one of the craziest cases that we've seen out here in these streets, another person, Lil Buck, ends up losing their life. And this really is the case that they're really trying to pin on Ksoo, all right? The Bibby murder, I know, is a part of the whole situation, but the situation that Ksoo is fighting for his freedom on right now is the Lil Buck hit. And so we're going to get into that, and then we're going to talk about Ksoo being on the run and how crazy that was.
On December the 11th, 2019, the ops knock on Ksoo's door. And when his mother calls out, "Who is it?" from the upstairs window, whoever was knocking gets to popping, firing shots at the property, with this supposedly leaked police report suggesting that around 27 shots were fired at the property before the suspects fled in a stolen SUV. With Ksoo's mom apparently telling cops that she believed Foolio or his associates were involved, and the cops later arresting numerous people associated with 6 Block. Foolio reacted to the news later on in an IG Live, saying that Ksoo got humbled by his mother being shot at.
His mama just got shot at and shit, so that's why he ain't been talking crazy no more. He ain't tell y'all about that. He ain't gonna post that. His mama just got shot at. So now your daddy got shot and your mom got shot at. And your brother died in front of him. Fuck him.
And well, clearly not one to allow any kind of disrespect on his name, within a month, Ksoo was back on the scene retaliating.
Again, once again, I just think it's important to mention that, right? And this is why, as sad as it is, as screwed up as it is, I do have a degree of sympathy for Ksoo. People are turning up to his family home, shooting his mother. His father had already been hit in the incident where he lost a brother in front of him. I can't imagine the type of pain that he would be going through. And just to keep it real, just to be human, look, I'm not from the streets. I'm not in the gangs. I'm not sliding on anybody at all, all right? I don't claim to be. I'm not a fake gangster. I'm not a gangster. I'm a civilian. Okay, I'm a nerd, all right? See these glasses? I'm a dork. I can't imagine what going through a situation like that would turn you into. That might turn me into a killer. You know, somebody shooting at my mother, somebody shooting my brother dead in front of me, someone shooting my father. That might turn me into a killer. I might be sliding. I might be jumping in the strike after that. And so I do have to have a degree of sympathy. Even as bad as Ksoo self-snitched on himself and really put himself in this situation, I've got to have that sympathy. And a lot of people have been on my case recently saying, oh, you're acting like you don't like these gangsters that you talk about, and you're being so negative, and you're calling people out for being stupid. Look, I think there's a lot of complicated things that go on with this. Yeah, you know, we talked about the TR Trizzy case the other day. You got a guy that's dealing meth from his personal phone on his Wi-Fi, and they've got his IP address, and he's got, got a bank account in the name of Marlo Stanfield. Like, you're a dumb criminal. That is what it is. But, you know, Queso was definitely dumb as far as how he conducted himself. He wasn't a real G that moved in silence. But I understand how these sort of things can actually turn you into a demon. This can turn you into a killer. Your mother, your father, your brother, all being impacted by this gang war, that does make you a monster. And unfortunately, the court aren't going to care. But on a human level, we have to take that into account.
Initially with music, releasing the track Bang It Out on January the 5th, 2020, where he dissed 5 or 6 dead ops, including Bibby showing the Vancouver Grizzlies Bibby jersey that seems to have become iconic in this beef, as well as dissing Foolio's other fallen friends Kendra and Dirk from that album cover, and dissing several other KTA-affiliated rappers like Y&R Mookie, Slugger, and Ksoo, with Foolio clapping back and dissing Ace and Ksoo on his response song In the Air that dropped a few days later. On that, Foolio said that Ksoo's dad is a snitch. He dropped lyrics that refer to shootings at intersections, and saying that he's smoking 2 of the 3 people that passed away in that car with Ace. Well, less than a week after that, it would appear that Ksoo and the ATK guys were getting busy, because on January the 15th, 2020, just 1 day shy of the year anniversary of the killing of Boss Goon, Ksoo's brother, it's alleged that KTA member and close friend of Foolio, Charles McCormick, aka Lil Buck, was tailed by Ksoo and other people, including Dominique Barner. Remember, this is the guy that allegedly shot an innocent bystander off a bicycle during that shootout between 2 cars. So these ATK hitters allegedly follow Lil Buck from his home to a shopping centre on Merrill Road. And when Lil Buck came out of a store around 11 AM, it's alleged that Ksoo jumped out of the car and shot him dead using an assault rifle. However, in a shocking twist, this hit was witnessed directly by an off-duty police officer who jumped in a car and took chase following the culprit several blocks. And to make matters worse, the shooters, after fleeing authorities, escaped the scene but then crashed the getaway car. The 2 suspects were then caught on surveillance video jumping through people's yards, and at this point it's alleged that Ksoo and Barner broke into a woman's home, holding her hostage whilst they changed clothes and then made an escape, with this wild crime spree triggering a local manhunt.
Right now at 10, the hunt is on for 2 men who shot and killed another man in Arlington before leading police on a chase and breaking into a woman's home, holding her hostage.
At around 11 a.m. Wednesday, this shopping plaza off Merrill Road quickly became a major crime scene.
I heard 6 gunshots.
Those gunshots killed a man in his mid-20s who was standing outside the front door of this employment agency. Police say 2 men in a gray car pulled up and began shooting him. Some of the shots went through the window of the agency. A surveillance camera from another neighbor's house records the suspects running through backyards and hopping over a fence to avoid capture. Moments later, police say the men forced their way into this home and held the homeowner hostage while they changed their clothes. The men eventually left and were last seen getting into a red or orange car believed to either be a Dodge Challenger or Charger.
Now, see, this is the thing, right? I got the sympathy on one hand, okay? It's very tragic going through all of these losses. I can conceive how that can make you a demon. But at the end of the day, for all the gangbanging, all the drill music, all of the stuff, we love all this stuff. We can have sympathy for where people are coming from and why they might end up doing these things. But bro, you're running in people's houses, taking them hostage, okay? And if these guys really did this, we're gonna need them off the streets, right? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you're running in people's houses, innocent civilians' houses, taking them hostage, and as we're gonna talk about later on, as we're learning in court, they were ready to kill that woman, right? Completely innocent. Not even an innocent bystander in their own home, taking them hostage and going just within a hair of murdering a completely innocent person. Like, let's keep it real. Everyone needs to go to jail. I'm sorry, but Everyone on this whole beef needs to be locked up. You know, it's really unfortunate. Bad things have happened on both sides. But as a society, we can't have you running in people's houses taking hostages. It's just not happening. We're not allowing that.
Something that a lot of people get fucked up about this story. Once Ksoo and Bana change clothes and leave that property, they're allegedly picked up by a vehicle that is being driven by Ksoo's father. And it's at this point that he becomes an accessory to murder. However, there's a few people that have falsely suggested that Ksoo's dad actually had something to do with the hit. That's not the case. But anywho, if Ksoo thought that he got away from this drilling scot-free, then he was wrong, because a handgun was found in that crashed getaway car, which the police say they found Ksoo's fingerprints on. But to make matters worse, following the actual killing, Ksoo took to social media and apparently posted a clip of Lil Buck rapping along with a waving hand emoji and the caption "bye bye," as well as another post of him supposedly showing himself getting a pedicure and an even more incriminating caption basically saying "kill a man, then get my toes done."
So this is something we're going to discuss in a minute when it comes to the trial, right? But like, look, this is a hit that went entirely wrong, okay? Sometimes, I don't know whether you want to say it's karma or just the universe, you know, doing the most, but you're out here catching bodies and there just so happens to be an off-duty police officer that decides to take chase. I mean, you can't plan for these things, right? You could be Agent Goddamn 47, okay? The real hitman. If that's what ends up happening, if there's an off-duty police officer in the area, you're finished, all right? Now they're in a car chase, now they're crashing the car, now they're taking a woman hostage. The whole thing is completely out of control. And you know, look, people been calling me a snitch a lot recently, but at the end of the day, bro, that off-duty police officer did his thing, okay? I would hope that that's this. I'm hoping if anyone ever pulls up on me, I'm hoping there's an off-duty police officer nearby, or on-duty police, or any sort of police officer, all right? Call me a snitch, call me the feds, whatever. I'm a civilian, bro. I'm not doing no drills. I'm not doing no get-backs. I'm praying. I'm running to the nearest police cars, all right, and saying, help me, please. I'm calling 911, 999, 111, whatever the local number is, I'm calling that bitch. So I just think it's like, that just goes to show you, man. Even after all of that, and you get away with it, you're being chased by the cops, you crash, you nearly take a hostage, and you're still going to hop on Instagram and talk about, I kill a dude and get my toes done. That one's crazy. It's a little zesty, if I'm honest with you, but that one's crazy, okay? And look, maybe running from the cops, maybe that does a number on your feet. I don't know, but that's just crazy. Also, I just want to say, excuse me if I've been clearing my throat. I've got a little bit of a sore throat today. I'm not feeling the best, but I still turned up for the daily video, okay? So, you know what I'm saying? We're locked in like that. But yeah, apologies for the frequent throat clearing, but let's keep going.
Now, I looked for these social media posts pretty far and wide, but it seems like they've now been taken down pretty comprehensively. But in the weeks that followed Lil Buck's murder, there was a wave of shootings in Jacksonville, including a 24-hour span in late February where 6 people were shot in 5 different shootings, leaving 1 dead and the community calling for a ceasefire.
Friday, the city had 3 shootings within hours. One was in Durkeeville, another was off Gate Parkway, and another near 20th Street in Talleyrand. In a 7-day time frame from now until March 1st, the Northside Coalition is pushing its ceasefire campaign. The group wants people to resolve conflict and stay away from altercation.
Well, I can tell you this was not effective. And on March the 19th, 2020, we would see one of the most senseless killings in this entire beef. On this evening, an attempt is made on KTA affiliate Ksoo's life in a shooting near Portsmouth Avenue and Norfolk Boulevard. He'd been on a date with 17-year-old high school student Iandi Weish when a grey car pulled up in front of them with 2 men hopping out and opening fire with an AK-47. Ksoo survived, but the innocent young lady did not.
It is tragic, man, and this is really the degree to which things are going, okay? And this is why, look, I'm low key on the side of the authorities, okay? You got these back and forth shootings, killing completely innocent students that have gone on a date with the wrong member. It's honestly tragic. Like that stuff like that just really hurts me. You know, you got kids getting killed in the crossfire, people are going on a date with what they think is the cool local rapper and losing their life. So it's very screwed up. Well, let's just jump ahead to the manhunt for Ksoo so that we can just fully recap everything. You can fully understand where things got to, and then we can catch up with today's most recent updates.
Who woke that?
Ever since the hit on Lil Buck, Ksoo's days were numbered. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office wanted Ksoo and his dad in cuffs nearly as much as the ops wanted them dead. However, in the days leading up to his capture, Ksoo would go back and forth with the ops on music. On September the 3rd, 2020, Foolio disses the other side with his song Fast Life, where he says, "Killed my dog, killed 3 of y'all, so that means we over equal," which I assume is a reference to the Zion Brown hit, followed by the 3-person car shooting. He also says that his fallen friends Trey D and Tiki are on his mind, which gives him a bad temper, and says if you diss on Bibby's name name, you're gonna die, simple, as well as saying that he's smoking on Ksoo's brother, Willie. The day after that song dropped, on the 4th of September 2020, Ksoo dropped the response song, a track called Back to Back. Now, this song was pretty bold. In the chorus, Ksoo says, back to back we drillin', back to back we killin', something which, if these allegations are true, we know he was literally doing. Elsewhere in the song, he says, we're the ones who dropped your man, buried your partner. He says he'll let the Draco dance and watch you do the Bibby dance. He says, let me tell you a story of how we caught him and ripped off. I hit the corner and tore his ass up. I heard they killed dog. He says, I aimed for his head so I know for sure he dead. I mean, considering the fact that Ksoo is literally currently accused of killing Bibby, the release of the song Back to Back is incredibly bold, if completely idiotic. And naturally, all of that self-snitching really didn't do Ksoo any favors, because exactly 1 week after that song released, both Ksoo and his father are taken into custody by the police.
Developing now, a father and son have been arrested in connection with a deadly shooting at an Arlington shopping center. 21-year-old Hakeem Robinson and his father, 49-year-old Abdul Robinson, are both in the Duval County Jail. Hakeem Robinson is charged with second-degree murder, and Abdul is charged with accessory after the fact.
Now, the next thing I'm about to say is pretty important, because there's a few videos floating around YouTube at the moment that are getting these details dead wrong. So the cops got a big break in the case against Ksoo, where they found a snitch, aka a confidential informant, who gave the police key details on the case and Ksoo's role within it. Now, remember Dominique Barner, who was accused of being on the Lil Buck hit with Ksoo? Well, he gets arrested in February 2020 for home invasion. He later gets charged for second-degree murder for his role in the killing of Lil Buck, and he is then subsequently charged with murder for the killing of Damon Rothermel, who was shot off his bike by a stray bullet in the shootout between ATA and KTA. So Barner is sitting in jail through most of 2020, with Ksoo and his dad getting arrested in September. Problem is, a lot of people have incorrectly labeled Dominique Barner as the snitch or confidential informant, and it probably has something to do with this very badly worded report on the news breaking down the case against Ksoo.
So many aspects of this, Mary, I've been going through all day and starting to piece things together. You have a variety of suspects, a variety of victims, different links for different cases, but you start to see that web you described between all these homicides. And I want to talk to you about one thing that happened here. Police were able to make their case against Robinson because of a confidential informant.
Now, if I was this news reporter, I would be very scared. In fact,
okay, so I was wrong. I was actually completely wrong here. I'll keep it real. I was wrong. All right, I was wrong. I thought that I hadn't seen enough evidence to put the snitch jacket on this gentleman. It's looking like that was not the case. All right. At the time, I felt like, look, I haven't seen anything to put that on him. Now the trial's happening. It's a different story.
In fact, this guy's lucky he hasn't already caught a stray, because he points at a picture of Dominique Barner's face when he says confidential informant. This is the moment he fucked up, because as
it wasn't at the time, it wasn't confirmed. All right, I'm gonna eat my hat on this one. All right, I'm gonna eat that delicious rainbow hat. But at the time, this wasn't confirmed, and I didn't feel like I could put it out there, but it's going a different direction now.
As a result, a lot of people on the internet think Dominique Barner is the confidential informant as a result of this clip. That is not
okay. Whoops.
Correct.
Okay. Look, I'll keep it real, man. If I get stuff wrong, I'll hold my hat up, all right? At the time, I didn't think that I could really be saying that, but look, here it is. And people are saying, yo, the alias Butter is crazy. People on Reddit are saying, don't ever trust anybody called Butter. Look, I couldn't confirm or deny, but you know what I'm saying? If you've got a guy in your crew called Butter, he might be a slippery character. That's all I'll say, man. He might be slippery and smooth like butter, okay? But yeah, this is going around. Dominique Butter Barner drops surprise phone call testimony. Attorneys say he never brought up before. Barner confessed to his role in the shooting. He has agreed to testify as part of a plea deal for a lesser sentence. Listen, all right? Maybe I should have paid more attention in school, but I was wrong, all right? I was wrong. Dominique Barner, also known as Butter, has confessed to be an accomplice to the murder in question. He testified Friday in the trial of Jacksonville rapper Hakeem Robinson, aka Ksoo. Barner agreed to testify as part of a plea deal in exchange for a reduced sentence. He's also pleaded guilty to the murder of Davon Rothermel, who was killed when Barner attempted to carry out another hit on a rival gang member. As a result of his agreement with the state, attorneys say he could receive only a 20-year prison sentence. Only 20 years is crazy. The attorneys for Robinson and his co-defendant Leroy Whitaker, also known as ATK Scotty, have argued that Barner is a paid assassin responsible for 2 murders and is testifying solely to help himself. You feel in your mind you should get 20, right? Ksoo's attorney, Tara Kawas, asked Barner, because in your words, you provided justice. On the stand, Barner admitted that he had previously lied to police, lied in depositions, and lied under oath. Defense attorneys said in their opening statements that Barner would not be a trustworthy witness. Barner also recounted the events of the murder. He said he was in the car when Ksoo and Whitaker had stalked Charles McCormick, aka Lil Buck, and eventually shot him. He testified that the group planned for both Queso and Whitaker to ambush Lil Buck. Their original plan failed when, after hours of waiting outside McCormick's apartment, Barner became distracted as Buck finally exited. This led to Plan B, following McCormick to the shopping centre on Merrill Road, where he was killed. After the shooting, Barner and Whitaker were charged with allegedly fleeing the scene and invading a woman's home where they stole clothes to change into. Barner admitted to assaulting the woman during the home invasion and is facing charges related to that too. Barner also discussed the motive behind the crime, saying that McCormick had written a diss track about his friend and Robinson's brother, Willie Addison. Addison and Robinson's father, Abdul Robinson Sr., had been like a father to Barner and often gave him a place to stay, he testified. Barner and Robinson were wearing the same outfit as the shooter seen in the dashcam video of the incident. Barner said Robinson. Robinson's attorneys have argued that based on the stature and height of the man in the video, it could not be Ksoo. Barner also testified that Robinson called a man called Raekwon Howard, a member of the same rival. Sorry, park this in real quick. As the same rival gang as McCormick on the day of the crime, and told him he was going to kill McCormick. According to Kawas, Robinson's attorneys had previously deposed Barner for a combined 9 hours over several sessions, yet this was the first time he had mentioned that call in front of her. At one point, I even said to you, Mr. Barner, I don't want a situation to show up where we're in a courtroom in front of 2 juries and you say something we've never heard before, right? Barner agreed. He remembered the conversation. Kawas continued, and the first time we have ever heard from your mouth that you witnessed a call from Raekwon Howard to Hakeem Robinson was today, right? Barner said he had in fact mentioned it before, but only to the prosecution. What you're telling this jury today is that you witnessed him speaking to Raekwon Howard, that he was going to go, that he was going to kill someone, right? That's a confession, right? Kawas pressed. You didn't think that was relevant to tell the lawyers for Hakeem Robinson? I mean, it was relevant, but I don't know, Barner replied. Earlier Friday, the girlfriend of a man involved in the crime and a digital forensic expert called by the state also testified. The girlfriend said she was told to pick Robinson up on the day of the murder, which she did not. She said she never asked about what happened. She also testified that Robinson was not particularly slim, like bony, at the time of the murder. As Robinson's attorneys have repeatedly pointed out, the defining feature of the shooter in the dashcam video is saying that he was tall and skinny. The digital forensics expert explained how he used computer modeling to match the gun from the dashcam video to a firearm Robinson was seen holding in music videos. He also discussed body scans that he conducted, we're going to get to that in a bit, stating he ruled out Whitaker and Barner as the shooter, but he could not rule out Robinson. Yeah, so look. Butter, there he is on the stand. I take it back. Is what it is, man. But let's keep going.
And just in case this news reporter doesn't know it, between the lines, you will actually understand that another person, an unnamed confidential informant, i.e. snitch, whose identity is confidential so we don't know who it is, don't be pointing at somebody's face.
Okay, I'll take that out.
When you say confidential informant, unless it's mine. So this anonymous snitch who we don't know basically wore a wire and recorded a conversation with Dominique Barner. Now this was likely a conversation in confidence with Barner.
Okay, so this is where it gets confusing, right? So Dominique Barner is now on the stand suddenly, right? Dominique Barner is on the stand. But at the time, all right, we're hearing that somebody did a wiretapped conversation with Dominique Barner and got a bunch of info. Now, I'm honestly, look, I might backtrack a little bit here and say, okay, at the time, based on the fact that there was a wiretap and Dominique Barner was on the wiretap, unless that's him recording himself and they worded it differently to keep his identity secret at the time, what I was thinking was that somebody else had turned state's informant and was recording Barner. That's what I thought. That was an assumption that I made. Could still be true. Could turn out to be wrong. But Barner's on the stand. I'll take the hit.
Barner having no idea that he was being recorded. And in this call that he was having in confidence, Barner revealed details about the murder that were recorded on this wire. Barner admitted that they had followed Lil Buck to the shopping center from his home, and Barner was later forced to acknowledge his involvement in the incident in the face of the irrefutable evidence that had been recorded against him. With the feds suggesting that Barner admitted that Ksoo wanted to kill Lil Buck for dissing Boss Goon on a song.
So there you go, right? I feel like what's probably ended up happening is that somebody else was telling, the situation was looking way too dicey, they got Barner on multiple M's, and then he basically just turned around and said, look, I might as well try and save myself.
But for the record, it's not entirely clear which details were recorded on the wiretap and which were confessed to the police after the evidence was presented. We don't know. That guy on the news certainly doesn't know. So just keep that in mind. So
I don't know either, right? I didn't know. I'll throw my hands up. I didn't know. My bad, all right? I'm human. I can admit when I get something wrong. I'm on a hunt for the facts, all right? I'm on a journey, I'm on a chase, I'm on a quest, I'm on a journey for the facts, all right? Sometimes you take a wrong turn.
But what we do know is that an unnamed snitch, confidential informant, was able to get the feds details on Dominique Barner's involvement, Ksoo's involvement, and Ksoo's dad's involvement. Frankly, this isn't a great look for the long-term possibility of Ksoo being free. And after his arrest, he was seen in jailhouse attire and a face mask looking pretty defeated. In fact, after Ksoo's arrest, the cops take an even closer look at the connection between the music and the violence.
Now learning more about the arrest of a man in the fatal shooting of a 23-year-old rapper earlier this year. And this arrest is starting to expose a tangled web of gang-related murders here in Jacksonville over the past 2 years.
In fact, except for that one guy who wrongly labeled Dominique Barner as the confidential informant, the news actually went on to do a summary of the Ksoo case that was so good, they might as well have opened up a Jacksonville branch of Trap Law Inc.
January 16th, 2019, rapper Willie Addison is killed. 5 others wounded in Spring Park. The victims had just left a rap music event at Paradise Gentlemen's Club on Bay Meadows Road. Then, around 2 weeks later, Damon Rothermel is shot and killed riding his bicycle on Emerson Street, hit by a stray bullet from a shootout between cars. Fast forward a year to this past January, 23-year-old Charles McCormick is shot and killed in Arlington. On Robinson's Instagram, there was a story posted of a child singing a song entitled KSO Homicide by rapper Yungeen Ace, a local rapper who has made headlines before. The video was posted after the murder of Charles McCormick. Also another story, which depicted Hakeem Robinson at a nail salon receiving a pedicure with the caption, "Kill a N-word, then go get my toes done." Hakeem Robinson is charged in the McCormick killing. Brought up a story involving him last year where there was an album released that by him, and the screen grab on the image of the album showed different homicide victims in the area.
So look, he was talking crazy and now it's all caught up with him, okay? So look, I'm gonna give you all of the latest updates that I've seen that at least I thought were interesting from the trial, okay? And it's all going down, okay? So the first thing that I seen going around is basically just, look, the fact is, you know, as Young Thug said, take it to trial, man. And this is a picture from the first day of jury selection. ATK, Scotty, and Ksoo are on trial together, but they're having 2 separate juries, so they've both been seen in the courtroom together. That they'll be having two separate juries for various reasons. Right? People are saying, why are they getting separate juries? You can get separate juries for different reasons. I've been reading their documents, and lawyers want separate juries because they feel like opposite parties are more guilty than the client that they're representing. Even Crazy K, he's having a whole separate trial as well. So people are saying, is this for Buck or Bibby? Now, this murder trial is for Buck, but depending on what's been said, they could open up a new case or tie it into this one. So a lot of people are looking at Ksoo for the Bibby murder, but that's not been officially charged yet. So they're up in court, man. Everybody's looking, and what was really interesting is obviously there's been all this talk about Queso essentially being Young and Ace's shooter, right? He was out here trying to avenge, you know, the murder of Young and Ace's brother and his friends. There was a triple murder that happened, and Young and Ace was the only person to survive. That was a big part of this beef. And obviously, Young and Ace, a lot of people are saying he's been feeling guilty, right? So this post has been going around. People saying Ace is getting that guilt. And Ace posted a picture of Ksoo, his alleged shooter, and Scotty there saying, I know so much time's been taken from y'all. I've been just trying everything I can for y'all, even when I fall short, and I know I ain't have the best, but it ain't nothing I won't do for y'all. Praying y'all over. Let my go. We need some punctuation, man. We need some punctuation in the Jacksonville streets. Praying y'all overcome this. I'm knowing y'all will. Trust 100. Know it feel like y'all fighting alone, but the whole world's behind you, praying that you make it through. Free the innocent. Queso, Scotty. Y'all the strong ones. Now, look. Ace doing what he got to do, all right? Ace doing what he got to do. People saying, look, Ace knows he's been popping his stuff the last few years, mentioning the same bodies that Ksoo got charged with, all right? Ace just trying the best he can do, best he can to try and get 2 of his main ones home. People saying, nope, he's cooked, all right? People saying he's cooked. He shouldn't feel guilt at all. 23, which is Ksoo's one, you know, basically in the incident where 3 people lost their lives. People saying 23 was just as close to Ksoo and Scotty as he was to Ace. They would have slid regardless. People saying that's what I'm saying. It's, you know what I'm saying? They're grown men, all right? They had a choice. Ace said, please don't say my name. Please don't bring me into this thing, man. Please don't bring me into this thing. People saying, look, they're all grown men. At the end of the day, they hopped in that car because they wanted to, not because Ace told them. But people are saying Ace is the kingpin. He ordered the hit. So, yeah. People are saying God sending them prayers straight to his spam folder. That's savage, right? The boss sending a message to his crash dummies. But obviously, Young and Ace is feeling a type of way. A lot of people have been saying the Young and Ace Rico is on the way. He could be getting wrapped up in a larger situation. And as you can see from those news clips in my earlier video, these guys were raising hell on the streets of Jacksonville. Jacksonville want to get all of these guys off the streets. They want to end this gang war. They don't want Young and Ace. I mean, yeah, Foolio's dead, but they're looking for Young and Ace. All right, I'm not going to lie. They're looking for Young and Ace. But anyway, up in court, some of those little comments, some of those little posts, those stories came back to haunt young Ksoo, all right? This one has been going particularly viral. This is actually such a crazy moment to even think that this happened, that this even came up in court. But this is what you're dealing with, bro. When the prosecution are saying these words, you're pretty cooked.
Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done. Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done. Those are his words that he attached to.
Yeah, that's not a good look. See the way that the lawyer's pointing right at him as well? Those are his words. And when you got the lawyer saying the N-word, as they say here in Reddit, he wildin'. Okay, he wildin'. People saying bro was happy to say that. That lawyer had been waiting his whole life to say that, all right? They're saying he doubled down. It felt so good he had to say it again, man. Someone needs to clip this for their next diss track. It is crazy, all right? People saying he saw a chance and took it. Hell no. Bro, that's messed up. He'd been waiting his whole life to say that on the set. He had to make sure they heard him. It's not even funny. It's actually not funny. I feel like the response is funny. But yeah, people saying Ksoo thinking he in Chicago, that's the reason he's going to get life. All right? Waited his whole life. People said, cracker what? Cracker, bruh. Had to get that second one off of his chest. That is crazy, bro. That is actually crazy. People saying, what in the boondocks? I actually gasped at this. I actually gasped. Bro, the way Ksoo lawyer looked at him, I need to watch that again and see how Ksoo lawyer looked over at him, because that must have been a rough moment.
Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done.
He looking over at Ksoo like, Ksoo shaking his head like,
then go get my toes done. Those, kill a nigga, then go get my toes done.
The way he looked at Ksoo like, bro, you please tell me you ain't really kill an N and get your toes done. Like, please tell me there ain't going to be no pedicure receipts brought up in this trial, man. Please. Insanity. Actual insanity, people. But yeah, so that was one of the biggest viral moments from the trial. Funnily enough, obviously, Ksoo's father, allegedly is going to be testifying against him. And I believe at some point in the trial, I don't think I have the clip right here, but at some point in the trial, the lawyers actually said to Ksoo's father, You're familiar with this witness stand. This ain't the first time that you've taken the stand here, right? And people are saying, damn, that's crazy. When you hear a lawyer saying your pop's been a snitch since before you and your cousin was born, what the helly? People are saying, what the hell, my heart would be on the floor. No, Blue really was an informant since the 90s. The feds was giving him bricks, and one time somebody stole them, and the Weds went and found them, and they ended up dead. When the feds are sliding for you, that is insane. That is insane. All right? It's not a good look. All right. Now, some people are thinking and praying that Ksoo's father, Blue, is on some YSL Woody stuff, right? They're hoping that he jumps up on the trial and throws the trial like YSL Woody did. If you remember the Young Thug YSL trial, YSL Woody was the star witness. He was supposedly involved in the murders. He, rumors of a couple of bodies, and he was going to take the stand to save himself. But he ended up being such an unreliable witness that really it unraveled the case. It became an absolute circus, and that's when Young Thug was able to cut his sweetheart deal, all right? This ex parte meeting ended up happening. The judge had a giant blowout at Brian Steele. He kind of tainted the whole situation. We got a new judge in there, and Young Thug and his team made the genius play to say, yo, we're going to cut a sweetheart deal right now while the prosecution is on the back foot. Now, You know what I'm saying? They might have beaten that trial because YSL Woody was so unreliable. But people are saying Florida ain't going for that, man. There ain't no way that Ksoo's father is going to be able to get him out of this situation. Now, another thing that people are saying is that this was part of the earlier documentary that I did, but I didn't have this information, right? The whole report that Buck was essentially killed for a diss track that he had made against Ksoo and Ace and all of those guys. Now, that diss track wasn't available. I believe that it's possible that that diss track maybe wasn't publicly released, or maybe it was, it was circulated amongst the Jacksonville community, but wasn't posted publicly. But that song has actually been played in trial. Okay, a little snippet of that song has been played in trial. We're finally getting to listen to the lyrics that caused this man to be hunted and killed, okay? And it's a classic beat. He hit the exposing me beat, man. He hit the... So you know, look, I'm not making light of the situation, but that exposing beat, that exposing me beat, okay? Few people have lost their lives over that, all right? Few people have lost their lives and careers over that. So when you jump on this beat, you know what I'm saying? These could be, you know, disrespecting your ops on this particular beat isn't the way to go, unfortunately.
Homeboy died on his birthday, 23, ain't here no more. Caught that nigga at the light. Y'all caught when folks took in on.
So he's talking about 23, right? He's talking about the incident where Young and Ace lost his brother and two friends at the red light. The whole car got shot up. Ace was lucky to survive. But yeah, that's what Buck's rapping about, and that's what caused Ksoo and them to basically pick up their guns and say, we're not going to let this happen. We're not going to let this slide, and we're gonna go and kill this guy over these lyrics.
Parker screaming up for help. Headshot instantly. It ain't no fair me.
So, you know, he's dropping these lyrics, this and that whole situation. And people are saying, look, this is maybe 2019, 2020. Dudes was mad disrespectful during that era. Jacksonville was hot as hell with these trash-ass songs. People are saying, this is terrible. How did he diss Quan 23 and Willie? 12 got everything. People are saying this weak-ass song was not even worth crashing over. And now, look, as much as that sounds like a flippant kind of comment, I think that is actually facts. Like, no, I'm not talking about the victim. I'm talking about Ksoo, bro. Like, who's even giving a shit? Like, are you really caring? Like, this, you know, arguably it's the weak-ass diss song. It's over a beat that's been used to death. He's saying stuff that a bunch of other people have said. Was that really taking a life? Was that really worth crashing out and throwing your own life away over? I'm not sure it was, man, but we're finally getting the information. We're finally finding out. But yeah, so a lot of people are looking at Dominique Barner as the informant, and they're basically saying that it's crazy that he could have done so much dirt in the streets and actually ended up snitching on the person that killed him. So people are saying Butter is a cold rat. He stalked Buck for months for Ksoo. He helped track the man down, took Ksoo to kill the man, and then snitched on him on the back end. Butter practically walked Ksoo right in the prison. And they made this little meme of him saying, give him life. Now, this is low-key. I don't want to say this is snitching, because I don't abide by any of this snitching nonsense that these idiots seem to keep putting on to me. But, like, this post low-key is sort of admitting, like, yeah, Ksoo did it. That's Ksoo. I'm pointing them out. All right. People are saying, then Ksoo's dumbass shot a video with the gun flexing because he signed a deal for $40K. They're saying it was the Bang It Out video. You a rat, but good looking out. You a rat for bringing up a video that's already been shown in the court. But people are saying, look, it was the Bang It Out video, and that was basically the video with the song, the video where he was waving around the gun. Let's have a look at that. Bang It Out, Ksoo. I mean, I can already see the Bibby jersey. All right. Yeah. Video with the gun. Not a great shout. He's got these two guns here. Yeah, that's not a good look, is it? That's not a great look. That's not a great look. Is that the same one? That's looking awfully similar. Yeah, not a great shout, that one. Not a great idea. Yeah, you know, look, is what it is, man. Ksoo's self-snitching is legendary, but Butter on some informant stuff for real. You could tell me he's been working for Ksoo since 2019, and I believe it. It's a cold game, man. Look, this comment looks like it's gonna be a spicy one, all right? Walked him into prison's a wild statement, and I'm gonna say this, all right? I'm a nobody on the net, so whatever. But if you really believe that, then you're headed for danger in life. I rate this comment. Accountability will set you free. Circumstances be damned. At the end of the day, you are responsible for you. I like to joke around in the drill subs with you young'uns, but as soon to be a 38-year-old, it took me way too long to figure out how to control my anger issues and drinking and bad coping skills that landed me in jail over dumb stuff over and over. After I got sober from alcohol, I was able to start being accountable for myself and stuff. I ain't perfect, but it's getting better. And when stuff don't go as planned, I can point out as to why and not make a bunch of excuses and blame others or just not face the reality. If you read this and think, shut the hell up, no one asked you, old head, you're right. But hopefully one of y'all is right on the brink of getting it, and this could be the post that makes you keep trending in a better direction. Now look, I gotta give my props to this commenter, right? Was it Code Kira? Real talk. That's the realest. This is one of the realest things I've seen in one of these situations. Accountability. That's what it's all about, bro. And that's why this whole snitching nonsense is a load of garbage, all right? You did the crime. Part of doing a crime, part of doing a murder is the possibility that somebody's going to snitch on you. It's your fault for bringing people into the fold. It's your fault for having accomplices going into murders. Not everybody's solid. Most people aren't solid, bro. If you go into a murder with 3 accomplices and one of them snitches on you, and you're going to take no accountability and be like, oh, he's a snitch. The reason I'm in here is because of snitch. No, you in here because of what you did. You in here because of your actions. Snitching comes with it. It comes with it. You know what I'm saying? Just like the clout of having a body and waving the gun around in the music video and being the big, yeah, that comes with it too. You know what else comes with it? Snitches. Extra attention. People on the internet like me making videos about it. Am I a snitch? Or am I just the consequences of what comes with doing a high-profile murder in the community? I really like this comment, and I think personal responsibility is so important. I've had so many morons coming at me recently talking about, you're a snitch, you're talking about this, you're talking about this. Bro, I don't got nothing to do with the streets, okay? People want to talk about snitch this, snitch that. I don't push people to go and spin, and I don't push people to snitch on themselves. I don't tell nobody to DM me information about crimes that they've done, all right? And it's not on me to abide by the code of the streets for a gang that I'm not in, for people that I don't know, all right? Nothing to do with any of that. You need to take accountability for your actions. It's very unfortunate. And as I said before, look, I completely understand the very sad circumstances that lead people to these situations where they lose people. But at the same time, you got to have the accountability to say, if you decide to go and slide, you got to make your peace with what comes with that. And at the same time, bro, there's a lot of people that bossed up and didn't go and get revenge. All right. I feel like, you know, look, Gilly and Wallow have been incredible role models, all right? They've been incredible role models. When Gilly lost his son, you know what I'm saying? He's not in a position to slide. He's already a millionaire. But what the point that Wallow kept bringing up is that he had to forgive the person that killed, I believe it was his brother, right? He had to forgive somebody that killed someone in his family, because if he crashed out, he knew he's not going to be around. He's not going to be doing multi-million-dollar deals and looking after the remaining members of his family. He's going to be in jail. He's going to be in jail for sliding and crashing out on somebody who might come back and kill another one of his family members. He's the smart one, and he took accountability for that. And look at where he's at now, and look at what the alternative could have been. He could have been Ksoo. So I thought that was a cold comment. I thought that was dope, and I really wanted to just put that up there. But anyway, let's change gears, because obviously we're seeing butter on the stand, and it is what it is, man. So look, this is what comes with it. You got to take accountability, but you don't know that feeling watching your homie tell on you. I'm sure it's heartbreaking, man. I'm sure it's super heartbreaking. But this is what's going on in court.
Understanding that you can only be sentenced on one of those offenses.
Yes, sir.
And you have a co-defendant in that burglary charge.
Yes, sir.
Right. And what's the name of your co-defendant in the burglary charge?
Leroy Whitaker.
Do you see Leroy Whitaker in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
Can you please tell us where he is seated and what he is wearing?
He got on blue and white.
All right. Can you describe the table or who he is sitting next to as well?
Sitting next to his lawyer.
Which table?
The front table, the first table.
Okay. Your Honor, with the record reflect,
I swear when lawyers do this, it's almost like they almost just want to drag these guys over the coals for their snitching. Like, look, you're here to tell. We know who you're telling on, but they really push it home. They're like, yo, can you see where he is? Can you see where he's sitting in this courtroom? Can you point him out exactly? Can you tell us what he's wearing? What would you rate his attractiveness from 1 to 10? Like, it is actually crazy. It's brutal, but I suppose it just has to be done. People saying real stuff. Watching this case is an eye-opener for me. People saying, do not trust dudes named Butter. All right, he need that that special Italian beef and a Pepsi. He took water and cough drops instead. Man, I bet bro tell him because Ace didn't feed him like he fed Ksoo and Scotty. Who knows, all right? Who knows? They're saying he bogus as hell, but at the end of the day, look, it is what it is, man. Look, people have been calling me a snitch a lot lately, and all I will say is that, look, I don't want to say that I have respect for snitches, but look, I'll keep it real. I do have a little bit of respect because at the end of the day, bro, like, I know that you are, at the end of the day, yeah, you're a snake. You're a snake. You told your guys that you were doing this. You were solid, and then it turned out next minute you weren't. And that is, you're snaking people, but you're snaking snakes at the end of the day. You're snaking snakes. So, you know, I can't condone it, but at the same time, I can't damn it either, because at the end of the day, bro, when you got Queso running into houses, taking hostages, innocent people, and threatening to kill them, you know what I mean? It might take a snake. It might take a butter to stand up and say, all right, enough's enough. So this was him on the stand. They basically admitted that, look, they were about to kill that woman whose house they ran into.
After you were choking her, did Leroy Whitaker say anything to you?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
He asked me, did I want to kill her?
What'd you say?
Said, yeah.
Did you want to kill her?
No.
Why'd you say that?
Just so she can
Just so she can cooperate, right? So literally they're putting this woman in fear of her life, all right? He said, yeah, they probably just said it to scare her and they left guns in the car. I can't imagine the fear that woman was going through, and she ain't got nothing to do with this, all right? People got nothing to do with this. But anyway, some people are saying that the only reason that he's snitching is because Ksoo. They're saying Ksoo, and this goes back to the accountability that I was talking about, right? People are saying, look, the dude only snitched because Ksoo's thirsty ass ruined the plan, all right? I'd snitch too. His thirsty ass got everybody locked up. Stupid dude need to follow directions, all right? I mean, if you got one of them exclusive builds like that, you shouldn't be sliding. Nobody should be, but definitely that fat double cheese dude should not be sliding. Dude, exclusive's crazy, right? Ksoo, goofy as hell, did that stuff right in front of a cop and apparently had to be talked out of shooting the cop too during the chase. I'd be pissed, especially too, if the difference between me getting away and the shit show that transpired was doing nothing / waiting a few minutes. He had one job, stay in the car. Now this boy telling us a Disney movie on the stand, has prior disposition of snitching, need to put his face in the definition of Italian beef and Pepsi. What did Ksoo do that effed it up? Instead of waiting for Lil Buck to hop in his car after coming out of the temp agency, Ksoo decided to hop out and blitz Buck, which screwed up the play. Because if they just waited until Buck hopped in his car, it would have been a clean kill and easier for the getaway driver to snatch off after the murder. No, he screwed up when they all decided to kill dude. This is that accountability again, right? These guys are trying to say, oh, it's Ksoo's fault. Oh, it's the snitch's fault. Oh, it's Ksoo's fault. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. You all screwed up when you decided to do a conspiracy for murder, all right? Damn gang, putting it that way, you're right. The dude had the dash cam, said he was about to leave, so they probably wouldn't have had no footage at all, and Ksoo wouldn't have had to run after him for people to see what he was wearing. It's a good point, right? Out of all the stuff I read on here today, this makes the most sense. First, we'll get a dude jammed up. Thurston got some dudes killed on that friendly fire stuff. Wanted to be involved so bad, MF jumped right in the line of fire so he can get off and get popped. That's how. I mean, it's a really, I feel like it's a really interesting aspect, right? Because it's like, that's what they were saying before. They were saying that essentially, you know, their plan was waiting outside of his crib, and then they got distracted. Then they followed him to this temp agency, and then they just ran out and killed him in the middle of a strip mall. I mean, that's not smart. I'm no hitman, but that's not smart. All right. There's more footage coming out from the trial here. People are saying this is the end of Ksoo. His friend is giving out serious details.
Well, he was telling them that one of his homeboys was slipping. He was finna get killed.
Did he give a name?
No.
Before Charles McCormick came out of the temp agency, did you stay where you were at, or did you relocate that Nissan Altima?
I relocated.
Where?
In front of the temp agency.
Tell him, man. Just giving the details. It is what it is, man. He's giving all the details, all right? It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I can't believe it. It's crazy to think for all the years that have gone by since this happened, we're just getting to this now, and it's looking crazy. So one of the other big things that people are talking about is this, right? And this is actually crazy. People are saying, look, All of you young'uns, get out of the streets and stop doing drills. Look at the technology they got. You will never get away with it. All right. And so look, they did a body scan of Ksoo, right? Hakeem Robinson here. They did a body scan of his whole body, his reach, his wingspan, him with his leg up, so they know exactly what he looks like when he's running. They made a 3D model and they actually put him into the footage of the murder happening to try and work out if that was him. It's crazy. Now, I'm not sure if it's conclusive, but what they are saying is that it ruled out the other two people of being the shooters, but it didn't rule out Ksoo. Doesn't confirm that it's him, but yeah, it's not great. Saying people being masked up doesn't even matter anymore. Them boys got technology to still find out your height, length, and body movements. They're doing 2K scans to catch a dude. It's crazy. Tell me anyone doing broad daylight in a public area. This is the sloppiest hit ever. All right, can they even make you take these poses? I ain't contenting to none of it. I think his lawyer told him that he could do this to help with his defense, but the lawyer probably ain't see the video, only that one pic. But apparently the state got a warrant to get this done. So I don't know. Lawyer low-key cooked his client with that. What the hell he thought they were going to do with the body scans. It's crazy. It's crazy. They made him do, they're saying they made him take NFL combine pictures, all right? So look, there's more to this. I've got more images of this technology being used in the trial, and it's just crazy. It's looking crazy. So look, here they've actually got Ksoo's body superimposed onto the scene. People saying technology way too advanced. Guys, that him. I ain't even gonna read that, man. They're going crazy, man. That boy Ksoo got some hips on him. That's what they're saying. All right. This stuff should show you the streets is over with. The technology they got now. What the hell? People saying wear a if you want to do a drill, wear a fat suit, shoes with 3 inches of height on them, or become a sniper. That's all you got left. All right. I was just coming here to post this. They went to the year 3000 or got something from the Terminator movies or the Jetsons. These boys are cooked. They got a whole virtual reality set of the shooters. And it's going to be the go-to move by the state in every shooting possible if they get this conviction. Now, from this angle, that's 101% him. Yep, that's Ksoo for sure. Big thighs. Whoa. I know when he's seen this stuff, his heart dropped. Yeah, dog, that's so obviously him. He's fried. Cooked. So obviously him, and we knew this before the technology scan. This sub just loves coping. He was the only guy with that build. He literally admitted on his song, I caught a ninja outside of the store and messed up his face. And we know Ksoo doesn't cap rap. In fact, Butter literally said that they were meant to kill him in a drive-by, but last second, Ksoo decided to jump out the car and shoot him in the face. It's messed up, man. I told y'all boys, when they release the video, it's going to look like him. I hope he beat it, though, but come on. Y'all were joking yourselves thinking it wasn't him. Yeah, I'll never do a murder after seeing this. That's what they're saying. Let me see these hips and these thighs once again. Let me see these hips. They're saying it's wide hips. It doesn't really, like, this is the thing. I don't think you can look at this and say that's definitely him. But as the prosecution apparently saying, you can't look at it and say it's definitely not him either. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. That one's crazy. That one's crazy. But there's even more pictures of this technology being used. They got a whole 3D model recreation. It's looking brazy, right? The technology they're using is on a whole other level. And they got the
34, 35, and let's go quicker. Are these essentially just the 28 still?
Yeah, this is the way we confirm that the model matches the object that we're trying to model in the 3D point cloud.
So they're saying they superimposed that model. All right, sorry, my bad.
34, 35, and let's go quicker. Are these essentially just the 28 still?
Yeah, this is the way we confirm that the model matches the object that we're trying to model in the 3D point cloud.
I mean, I've never seen the moving images of this, so even just seeing that little clip is crazy to see how he really chased him down in the strip mall. But yeah, they're saying that 3D model is superimposed over the original footage, and it's definitely him. The dude just testified Ksoo was the shooter. That's one of his catchphrases. Come here, boy. I can tell that's Ksoo by how he's running up. People are saying now that they're moving, now that he's moving, you can tell it's Ksoo. I don't know. It's crazy they can't identify you. They create computer stuff to try and do it. Them scans, they ain't got shoes. It doesn't add up. Maybe the shoes. I think, I don't know. On the one hand, I feel like, I don't know if this really proves anything, but then on the other hand, I mean, if the technology is like DNA, I bet you back in the day when DNA first became a thing, a lot of people were like, bro, that don't prove nothing. What, you got a fingerprint? Oh, you got you got a hair. That ain't gonna, how the hell are you going to nurse my hair? Bro, DNA, bro, the lab. So I don't know. This could be legit, or it could be conjecture like a lie detector test. But the technology is looking insane.
34, 35, and let's go quicker. Are these essentially just the 28 still?
Yeah, this is the way we confirm that the model matches the object that we're trying to model in the 3D point cloud.
Man, it's a rough one, man. It's a rough one. It's really sad. It's actually really sad. So, yeah, there's just... This is kind of like the big thing that's on everyone's mind, right? So everyone on Reddit, on the Duval County subreddit, as you're learning through my recent videos on this channel, man, we got a subreddit for everything, man. So look, we got a subreddit for absolutely everything. We're like the CIA meets MI6 over here, right? You want to say snitch this, snitch that, but we're really Reddit disciples, man. So look, people are saying, boy, I'm so happy I changed my ways and became a civilian, because what the F is this? 3D Court uses 3D laser scans and kinematic models against Ksoo in his murder trial. Full scans, full kinematic models. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. That's what they're using, man. Streets are done. Now, people are saying, I wouldn't trust that technology to solve crime. Shit, useless. Going to get a lot of people false accused. That's scary as hell. Yep. I don't know. They are going to be using AI to solve this. In the future, they definitely are going to be using KI to solve... KI? KI is not solving anything. AI is definitely going to be used to solve some of these situations. But yeah, it's just absolutely get out of control. So basically, as a result of these things, everybody thinks Ksoo is cooked. You know, this is going around. People are saying he's finished. This is the image of the two people shooting. It's not a good look, right? People are saying exactly what I was saying. When the video comes out, it's going to look more and more like him. People saying Ksoo's still going to beat him. He was up on that boy. Damn. Yep, that's him. Never mind. He for sure cooked. That's crazy. So they're saying that's actually the image of Buck on the left, and they've kind of superimposed these two images next to each other. So they've taken two different frames from the same video and put them side by side. So Ksoo would have been a head shooting at Buck, but they've put Buck there to show the height difference between them. To again, just to basically try and further char broil our boy Ksoo, and it's just not looking good. It's just crazy. So as a result of this, like, more things are going around. There was actually a video of Bibby and Buck together before Ksoo allegedly took both of their lives. So again, I think just as a result of this trial, we're getting a lot of these throwback, forgotten moments from Jacksonville gang wars that are now kind of giving more context, right? So obviously, Buck and Bibby were very close. So we see this video of them two together. We obviously know, or at least it's alleged, that Ksoo had killed Bibby. These two are hanging out together. And, you know, it's very unfortunate, but this is a video of two people that allegedly were killed by Ksoo together going around. Now, not everybody is hating. Some people are saying, yo, look, Ksoo's lawyer is cooking, all right? At least Ace spent his money on someone good. Honestly, he tried. The lawyer knew Ksoo was cooked because she kept saying, weren't these your real friends? She's trying to do everything to remove him from the scene, but the digital forensic guy and Butter sealed it with the make of that rifle. The police said he hopped out with a gun, and so did Butter. But people are feeling her, and I think really it's just like one clip. It's like one bit where people are saying, like, yo, she really going to bat for Ksoo. This quick little clip where she's just basically saying it's clearly not him, and she really says it with chest. A lot of people are saying, yo, this is like she might be 80K at this point.
And he was thin. Clearly not Hakeem Robinson.
Clearly not. Clearly not. Now, she right? That's not Ksoo. That's what they're saying. Violated. But who knows, all right? Who knows? So look, I'll keep it real. That's like the latest that I've got. Like, these are the sort of like the biggest things. So I just wanted to hop on, do that little recap, give you guys some more context to what's going on. And really, it's all about this forensic technology. Like that, I don't want to call it AI, but that 3D modeling, putting him at the scene, saying it was a match. It's compelling. I'll say it's compelling. I'm not going to say it's convincing, but it's compelling. And it's just really not a good look. But like I said before, man, like I said in that comment that I read, accountability, man. Accountability is everything. You can't be out here doing these things, unfortunately. It's just unfortunate. It's not going to run. It's not going to fly. So, yeah. The streets are finished, basically, is what it is. The streets are finished. When they got 3D models, they're putting you in the game like a goddamn creator player, all right? People want to talk in the streets about created players. You know what I'm saying? You're jumping into the gang war like you just created a new player on 2K. Well, the prosecutors will create a player too. They're going to recreate your player. They're going to put you in the crime scene. And they're going to have you cooked with AI. All right? So streets are finished. If I can give you one message, man, it's just, you know, stay out the streets. Stay out the crime. Try and live an honest, honorable life. And I know that's hard sometimes. But God damn it. If you don't want your life to be over with, like someone like Ksoo, that's what you got to avoid. So it's not snitching. You know, what was it? How would ChatGPT say this? It was, you know, not snitching, just honesty, raw honesty. You know what I'm saying? That's what it'd be like. Anyway, appreciate you guys tapping in. I'm glad you guys are enjoying all the videos. We are going crazy with the second channel right now. I'm so grateful for all of your support. Honestly, it's been a tough couple of months, but we're hanging in there. And I'm just so glad that I've got this outlet that I can talk to you guys every day. I can talk about things I'm interested in. I've still got I've got a 3.5 hour full-length gang documentary coming to the main channel very soon. We're going back to the old flow, all right? I did my little 2-month experiment in doing weekly videos, and that didn't really feel like a good fit for me, but we're about to be back. I've got a 3.5 hour documentary. I've spent a month with my team working on this, researching it, editing. It's going to be fire. We're going to get back to the old Trap Law roster I know you guys love. And I know a lot of you guys have been mad confused. I think I set the record straight in my last video, but I'll just say it again. This is my second channel, by the way. I see people saying you fell off. You used to have these great edited documentaries. Now you're just on here chatting nonsense. This is my second channel, all right? And I appreciate that we're so damn lit that you're getting confused thinking that this is a channel with 1 million subscribers and a whole team behind it. But this is just me dicking around in my spare room, all right? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go live because I'm not doing the whole live thing at the moment, but I'm just hitting record and I'm hitting you guys with the facts. So I really appreciate that. Main channel, fully edited, very slick edit documentary coming soon. Shout out to my team. But yeah, it's coming soon. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Go and check out one of my other videos on this channel. We've been running it up. We've been coming every day. And let me know in the comments what you guys want to see next. I could do a top 5 update. I nearly did that today, but I wanted to get into the Ksoo business. T Grizzly, I haven't seen any new information about T Grizzly, but if there's something new on that, let me know. But if there's another situation you want me to talk about, if 4 extras or someone else, let me know below. I'll get to it in the next video, and I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to stop waffling now, and I'm going to get out of here. And also, I'm going to be doing a live stream with Tanks and Bouncer soon. I'm about to get a lot of people in the UK very, very upset. So we're out here winning daily uploads, people. Shout out to the guys. Catch you in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.